how we should be
That's right.
teaching kids. That is very difficult to me to answer because I don't really have much experience in that area because my focus was always big boys. Well, I trained you when you were 19 years old, 11 years old. But as you know, I was Japanese style. But it turned out good, but it
I
was still
mean,
Japanese style. And I don't think it works for other people, other kids. Kendo is, I know it has to be fun. I want to try to make Kendo fun for kids, but I don't know how, to be honest with you. Yeah.
it's such a good question, man. Oftentimes when we're coaching either adults or kids, we have a very firm idea of what a kendo training should look like.
Right.
And as you made the point about, taking the training style that we tend to have, taiso, junbi taiso, warm up, kiri kaishi, minuchi 5 times, kote 5 times, da 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 da, jigeko, and then kakarigeko. It's pretty similar structure wherever you go. That
Mhm.
originally came from a very specific context in Japan, but the school training bukatsudo sort of training style, and it's nothing wrong with it, but it doesn't always need to be that way. It doesn't need to
Right.
be exactly like that. And when you think about it, is it really fun for a young person to have that same thing all the time? And some viewers might say, well, absolutely, it's routine, it's regular, it's really important. A martial art is built
Right.
on discipline. And I know that, in the past when I've been coaching in New Zealand, I've had moments where I think, oh, we'll need to change this up. We'll completely restructure things and we'll do it differently. And I actually lost adult members because they said, hey, Blake, I don't do kendo to have fun and play games, man. I'm here to get discipline and work hard. And so it's really hard as an instructor or as a coach
Mm.
to hit everybody, and get those engaging training sessions that everybody's happy with.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, everybody sort of agree, I think, that there's a certain balance that we need to strike of keeping things fresh and interesting and working on stuff that's actually important for us right now, but also sticking to a certain structure where everybody's familiar with what's going on, and striking that balance is the key thing, eh? When it comes to kids, mate, I tell you what, sometimes, you can think about it, the game changes because kids are built to play. They're built to have fun. And, we've got kids. My daughter's only a baby still, but she's just, that's all she wants to do is play and dance and have fun.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we don't have any babies in the dojo.
Yeah.
But the idea is the same, is that, kids are coming along. Yes, there's a certain element of discipline that we want to instill that maybe that their parents want them to have as well. Absolutely fine. But being able to break the mold, break that structure just a little bit in order to have a little bit more fun is really key. So the question then is, how do you do that? How do you make something fun that's typically pretty structured and disciplined? Now, let's talk specifically about how to make a training fun, right?
Yeah.
I think what's really easy to keep in mind and remember is to modify what we're doing, to change just a couple of things. We don't have to reinvent the wheel here. We just have to modify a couple of things. So if you think about jigeko, we've got the perfect opportunity. Now, the assumption that I'm making here is that we're working with kids that have bogu on. All right, and we can talk a little bit about beginner kids a little bit later. But let's say jigeko, we've got bogu on, we've got the general gist of men, kote and do, kote men, those sorts of things. Well, what do we do from there? Jigeko, as we all know, is the most enjoyable part of training. Hey, do you agree? Like, we do the kihon because we have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the reason jigeko is so enjoyable, I think, is because it's a chance to play. It's a chance to trial things and experience some successes and experience some failures and learn from it. So we want to be able to extrapolate that out. We want to have more opportunities for people, for kids, young people to play. So what do we do, right? Well, one thing we can do is change the space, right? Change the size of the area that they've got to train in. And a really good example of this is if we were doing maybe a little Sammon Shobu or a little Ippon Shobu or something like that. You put them in a shiaijo, or say this is the shiaijo between these cones or between these areas. You are stuck in the corner. Right? You have to figure out how to get out of the corner without going over the line and getting jorgai. You can do that with experienced players. You can absolutely do it with kids as well. You're up against the wall and Sensei's coming towards you and he's going to strike you, man. What are you going to do? What are your options? And, we sort of modify whereabouts they are in the dojo or how much space they have to move around in. Now, as a coach, we can make the decision that this is going to translate to learning about moving to the left and to the right, or moving forward because little Billy keeps moving back or something like that. So we can tie learning objectives to it depending on the needs of the people that we're working with, the kids that we're working with. But at a very basic sort of starting point, changing what amount of space they have to move in is a beginning to adding in extra little bits of learning. So space, right? And this is the S, right? And I'm going to go through a couple more. I'm going to spell a word. It's going to be amazing. Next thing you can do is time. Change the time, right? And we do this kind of inherently anyway in Jigeku. We say, all right, 3 minutes Jigeku, 5 minutes Jigeku. Really easy way to do this is say we have 30 seconds on the clock and we're at the world champs, the finals of the world champs. It's you versus Chris Yang Sensei, and he's come back, he's making a comeback, and he's here, and you're fighting him in the finals, or whoever their hero is. I'm just going on my own heroes. This is what we have to do. We have to get one ippon. We've got 30 seconds to do it. So we're making little modified games and little scenarios and chucking a time frame on there as well. So we're working against the clock, or we're working for the clock. Just off the top of my head, another thing you could possibly do is say for every ippon that you get awarded, you buy yourself another 10 seconds on the clock or something, anything like that. But it's up to your imagination to come up with those sorts of things and just add pepper in little bits of challenges and a little bit extra sort of constraints that can be turned around into making it a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit more competitive, or a little bit more of a challenge. So we've done S, so we changed the space. We've done T, which is change the time. Now we're going to go E, which is the equipment. And this is cool. This is what I love doing when I'm coaching kids. And I've done it a few times in my own coaching with mixed attitudes, right? What I'm talking about is chambara.
Oh, okay.
Oh, dear. Right. So chambara, for those who don't know, is using padded swords. In the past, Hiro, you've disappeared again. In the past, I wonder if I can move across. There you go. Is that a pool noodle? Oh no, it's just a straight up.
That's real stuff, mate.
Yeah, that's the business. Yeah. Nice one. They still kind of hurt a little bit, those ones.
Oh yeah.
When we do chambara, now this is cool because we can do this with adults, with beginners, with kids as well. It's a reasonably safe and a really enjoyable way to engage with the techniques in Kendo. So, in my experience, we use Bokuto Keiko, right? And we, for example, we go, right, you're motodachi, and you're shirachi, kakarite, sorry. Right, if we've got motodachi striking men, what options do you have as kakarite? I don't know. Well, what's open? When they lift up, what's open? Door? That's right. So there's Kihon 5, men nuki do. We can do that with the box door, or we can put them straight into a scenario with the chambara. You do it with rolled up newspaper, whatever it is, and have a go. Where did we see that technique coming out, or where's the opportunity? Those sorts of things we can start to question around those opportunities. But chambara, just changing the equipment like that, amazing. Yeah. You did this with me, Hiro, I think a while ago, a long time ago, tying balloons to the men.
Oh yeah.
Pop the balloon with a good ippon. The only thing with that, it's great fun. The only thing with that is that the preparation time takes a while. And that's the only thing to keep in mind. You can do a lot of stuff with balloons, tying a balloon to a piece of string and tying it to the left foot. So there's a little, like a ball and chain, and we've got to move around the dojo to stamp on the balloon. So we're working on okuriashi and fumikomi and those things. You've got to try and stamp the balloon and pop the balloon. And again, using equipment doesn't necessarily mean what we're holding, but also what's on the floor. So some of us train in gymnasiums, right, with basketball courts, volleyball courts, badminton courts painted on the floor. Those are, for me as a coach, is a huge opportunity, because you can play a version of tag, line tag, for example. You're only allowed to move on the lines. You're only allowed to move on the white lines. You're only allowed to move on the blue lines, or something like that. And you're only allowed to move in okuriashi. So we're moving in different directions. It's an excellent way to warm people up. Instead of just doing oikomi stuff up and down, we're changing directions and moving okuriashi. So we're changing the equipment or repurposing what we have available to us.
That's nice.
Makes it way more enjoyable than straight lines up and down the dojo, right? So there we go. We've got S is space, T is time, E is equipment. The last one is P, step. This is the step model. And P is for people. So when we change or modify the people in an activity, it's as simple as, Kendo is obviously one-on-one. We could make things two-on-one, for example.
Oh, it's fun, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tiring, but it's fun.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and you will get hit in the back of the head. Yeah. When we put something like that, some sort of modification around where we've got two people standing in front of us, or it doesn't even have to be standing directly in front of us. It could be a sort of a tag team sort of a thing. So as soon as an ippon scored, the other person quickly jumps in and go straight away. Wherever they are, wherever they stand, they start fighting. You know, you could do it in a circle and you've got 5 people or whatever it is. But often we have Kendo done in one-on-one. When that's finished, we do sonkyo, 5 steps back. We wait for the other people to finish. Then we kotai, and we bow in and we go again. All of those things are very important. Regi. Absolutely, totally understand and support that. And we've talked about that before. When we're talking about kids and we're talking about maximizing the enjoyment, or maximizing, this is really important here, or maximizing the time on task. So we take away all of the bits that stop the momentum, and they lose. It gives them an opportunity to lose focus, get bored, and start to act out. If we're maximizing that efficiency or the smoothness of the session, then we've got this opportunity to sort of keep things engaging and keep things fun, which is what we're trying to do. So changing the number of people or how we interact with people is another one. So the model is S.T.E.P, really easy to remember. Change the space, change the time, change the equipment, which includes the environment, and change the people. And as soon as we can start to think a little bit more creatively about what's around us using that step model, things start to flow. Here's the pro tip. Ask the kids what they want to do. Right? If you say to them, hey guys, today we're working on, I don't know, let's say small menuchi, kiken taichi, when we do small menuchi. What we normally do is we stand here and we do menuchi. I want you guys to spend the next 5 minutes coming up with a game that you want to play that involves us striking a small menuchi. Honestly, leave it. Give it to them and leave it. And you know, you've got kids that are over the age of 7, right? So they just come up with all sorts of weird and wonderful things. The more opportunity we give kids to go, oh, coach or sensei lets me come up with ideas, and they'll start coming to training with ideas. Hey, sensei, can we try this today? And all of a sudden you've engaged them. When you can get them coming to you and saying, oh, really, can we try it like this? Or I played this game at school today and I thought that it might be, you've got it, you've nailed it, and they're enjoying it, they're engaged. And when we get that sort of culture developed over a little bit of time and a few sessions, give them the homework. Say, all right, guys, when you go to school this week, I want you to have a look around the playground. What are kids playing? And how could we kendofy that? How could we make that relevant to training? You know what I mean? Some of it might not work. That's cool. Give them a chance to try it and figure it out that it doesn't work. Yeah, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? What else could we do? All of a sudden, you're engaging these young people rather than just telling them what to do. And man, I tell you what, I work with young people in my job all the time. Giving them the opportunity to come up with stuff that's relevant to them makes a massive difference to their engagement and their enjoyment of what the content is and what they're having to do.
That's good. That's good. Never thought about it.
That's what I'm here for, buddy. Please send us through some either content or questions that you think would be helpful for us to go over. We're more than happy to give that a crack. And it's been very enjoyable. Thanks, Hiro.
Thanks very much, Blake. That was very insightful. You're the man.
I don't get called insightful very often. There's other words that people choose to call me. It's not insightful. I've enjoyed it. Hey, thanks so much, mate. And we'll see everybody next week. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.